Hello, especially for the Dirty Secrets channel.
Rachel Hartley's life was a carefully constructed mosaic of suburban perfection. Her Tudor-style home in Oakwood Estates stood as a testament to her meticulous nature, every detail precisely curated, from the symmetrical rose garden to the hand-selected throw pillows that adorned her living room sofa. 38, she was the embodiment of professional and personal success. As a forensic accountant, Rachel had built a reputation for uncovering the most intricate financial deceptions. Her analytical mind was her greatest strength, a skill that had helped her climb the corporate ladder and maintain what appeared to be an ideal marriage to David, a successful real estate developer. Their neighbors, the Thompsons, had lived next door for 3 years. Jessica Thompson was a part-time yoga instructor, always perfectly put together, with a smile that seemed just a bit too practiced. Her husband Mark worked in tech sales, the kind of guy who was always networking, always charming. The first true crack appeared on a crisp September evening. Rachel was working late, forensic reports spread across her home office when she noticed something unusual on David's phone, which he'd accidentally left charging near her laptop. Text message notification. Partially visible. Just enough to make her pause. Can't wait to see you tonight. Everything's clear. The sender's name was partially obscured, but something about the tone felt intimate. Too intimate for a business colleague. Too charged with something Rachel couldn't immediately define. Her forensic training kicked in. Not emotional. Not reactive. Just pure clinical observation. Something was wrong. And Rachel Hartley was precisely the kind of woman who would uncover exactly what that something was. Rachel's approach to investigating her suspicions was methodical. She understood better than most how people tried to hide their tracks, both in financial fraud and personal deception. She began by documenting David's patterns. Late nights at the office became more frequent. His phone, once an open book, now had a new passcode. Credit card statements showed unexplained expenses, lunch charges at restaurants she'd never heard of, gas station purchases in parts of the city he rarely visited. Thompson's house took on a new significance. Rachel started noticing subtle changes. Jessica's increased gym visits. Mark's slightly altered work schedule. The way David would casually mention Mark or Jessica in conversation too casually. Her training as a forensic accountant gave her unique investigative skills. She understood patterns, inconsistencies, the microscopic tells that most people would miss. Each piece of evidence was carefully logged, dated, analyzed, not with emotion, but with the same clinical precision she would apply to tracing fraudulent financial transactions. Picture emerging was both crystal clear and maddeningly ambiguous. Something was happening, and Rachel was going to uncover every single detail. Private investigator she discreetly hired confirmed her worst suspicions. Photographs that were more than circumstantial, more than suggestive. Definitive proof of an ongoing affair between David and Jessica Thompson. Not a momentary indiscretion, but a carefully maintained relationship that had been developing for months. Intimate lunches, secret meetings, stolen moments in parked cars. The kind of connection that went beyond physical attraction, a shared intimacy that suggested deep emotional entanglement. Rachel's initial response was not emotional collapse. It was calculation. She understood that true power came from information, from strategic preparation. The photographs became her weapon, her evidence, her path forward. By the time David returned home that evening, Rachel had transformed. Gone was the wife. In her place stood a strategist, an investigator, someone who was about to unravel everything. "We need to talk," she said, her voice a blade of perfectly controlled emotion. The living room, a space Rachel had carefully designed to reflect sophistication and calm, became a psychological battlefield. David's initial response was a masterclass in manipulation, denial, minimization, classic tactics of a man caught in a comprehensive lie. "It's not what you think," he began, a phrase so cliché it almost made Rachel laugh. But her forensic training had prepared her for every possible scenario of human deception. She spread the photographs across the coffee table. Physical evidence. Irrefutable. Devastating. His transformation was immediate. Shock. Guilt. The gradual realization that every carefully constructed lie was now exposed to unforgiving light. How long? Rachel's question was surgical in its precision. The silence that followed was more revealing than any words. The affair wasn't just a personal betrayal. It was a complex ecosystem of suburban deception. Rachel began to understand the intricate social dynamics that had allowed this betrayal to flourish. The neighborhood's seemingly perfect exterior, manicured lawns, annual block parties, community barbecues, had been nothing more than an elaborate facade. Mark Thompson, Jessica's husband, was either complicit or monumentally unaware. Rachel's investigation revealed a web of social connections, whispered conversations, carefully maintained appearances. Suburban life, she realized, was its own form of performance art. Rachel didn't want simple revenge. She wanted comprehensive, surgical dismantling. Her professional network became her tactical arsenal. As a respected forensic accountant, she understood how to strategically erode professional and personal reputations. David's real estate development firm became her first target. Subtle professional communications, carefully worded ethical inquiries, professional network whispers that suggested potential misconduct. For the Thompsons, she discovered even more nuanced weapons. Social vulnerabilities, professional reputations that could be strategically undermined. They would not just lose, they would be comprehensively exposed. David's professional destruction became a meticulously orchestrated strategy. Anonymous tips to professional boards, subtle insinuations about his business practices, each move calculated to erode not just his professional standing but his entire professional identity. Jessica's part-time yoga instruction business began to crumble. Community connections became sources of potential professional isolation. Rachel was a ghost, an invisible architect of strategic exposure. As David and Jessica's carefully constructed worlds began to collapse, they turned to each other, only to find that their connection was built on a foundation of mutual betrayal. Financial investigations revealed deeper layers of deception, hidden accounts, questionable business practices. The very relationship that had destroyed Rachel's marriage now began consuming David and Jessica. Rachel's journey attracted a network of unexpected supporters, other women who had navigated similar betrayals, professional contacts who respected her strategic approach. Her experience transformed from personal devastation to a form of collective empowerment. The final confrontation was not about dramatic retribution. It was about choice. Rachel could destroy them completely, or she could walk away, reclaiming her power through detachment. Her decision would define not just her future, but her entire understanding of personal strength. In the end, Rachel chose liberation over destruction. She sold the house, rebuilt her life, her professional reputation not just intact, but enhanced by her strategic approach to personal crisis. David and Jessica became cautionary tales, a warning about the devastating consequences of suburban infidelity. And Rachel? She became something entirely new, stronger, unbreakable, testament to strategic resilience. Her most magnificent creation was her own reconstructed life.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the story, like, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. Thank you.